Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 27220 Southwest Wood Avenue here in Wilsonville. Located at the front of the house, front of the bay window here. Have a 3-inch ABS cleanout, and this is off to the right of the front doorway. And I describe everything as if you're standing out in the street facing the front of the house. So if you lose track of this thing, you've got this foundation vent here, just to the right of the doorway, on the front facing part of the bay window. Cleanout sits about a foot to the right of that and about 18 inches out from the front of the house. 3-inch ABS cleanout, water's running. We are zeroed out, and off we go. I think I actually turned the hot water on. I'll do a toilet flush here at the end to blow the steam out of the line. Get a nicer picture. Even with the steam in here, that is what I can clearly see. That is a very clean flow line right there. Extremely clean. Alright, we just swapped over there to 4-inch 3034 PVC. Into some level of standing water here. We will take a look at this on the way out when the line's fully drained. Got some more here too. Now you've got some standing water. The only stuff I'm seeing in that standing water is fine particulate. There's nothing, at least I can see thus far, that's caked to the sidewalls. And we'll see how those look and drain out at the end. There's a big rush of water come down the sewer line here all of a sudden. Sometimes that happens if there was a blockage or partial blockage in the sewer line, that the water was building up behind it. I mean, clearly some is obviously getting around it quite a bit, but sometimes that's what creates. Yeah, I just had another one of those go past to clean out. These random big rushes of water. There may have been some debris that has been sitting in the line that was left there shortly after the house was vacated, and sometimes when that happens, if there's not enough water flow going through all the different fixtures to move it along, it'll start busting loose like this. So we'll look more into that here in just a moment. We're at the main here at 38 feet. We're going to pull back here in just a second once the line's drained off, and we're going to go locate the camera head. All right, looks like the line's down to just a trickle at this point. I just located the camera head. Line terminates out on Southwest Wood Avenue. That was a relatively straight shot out. It does kind of zig and zag, kind of heads toward the walkway that heads up to the front door, but it turns and straightens out, probably 4 or 5 feet before it gets to that point. Alrighty, and there's just a super thin little tiny line of water going through the clean out. I'm not sure if sometimes there's a toilet flapper that just doesn't want to close 100%. Anyway, what's going down here right now is so minor, it's not really going to change the appearance of something like the depth of the standing water, for instance. That's when I like to take a look at standing waters once the line's drained out, because it does exaggerate the appearance of it. So there's some buildup in this line. It's throughout the line. This actually is and it leads all the way up to the main. It looks like the main lateral out in the street, the city's main, backed up at some point, because those deposits go all the way to the main connection. Main laterals and streets back up, actually more frequently than you'd think. Alright, so it looks like we're hitting the tail end of the little belly here at about, I don't know if it's little yet, but we'll see. Right here at about 26 feet. This one dissipates off. And I can't figure out where that's water. I put my ear right at the toilet that's closest to the kitchen. I don't hear anything going through it, but something's letting a little bit of water get down line. Usually it's a toilet flapper that doesn't shut all the way closed. Hard to say for sure. All right, so this one here, this one runs from about 22 to 26 feet. That drained out nicely. That only is holding at its worst point here. I'm gonna get kind of into the middle of the belly, let the water settle in. So that's just hitting the base of my camera lens, which is about a 1/4 inch off the bottom of the pipe. So you got about a 1/4 inch of standing water there. Now what I am gonna probably recommend on this thing is just a cleaning, just to jet this junk out of the pipe. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It's likely just backup debris, which is a conglomerate of a lot of different stuff. So and then going into the, I believe there's just the 2 bellies here kind of back to back. This one dissipates out at about 19 feet. And there's still some debris in the flow line, which is always going to displace water to some extent. But even that one there still is, it's right around a 1/4 of an inch. It's just slightly more than the one up in front of it. And you can see how we have this chunk of junk sitting right here in the flow line that'll partially dam the line up and displace some of that water. You know, like if you take a glass of water and you drop an object in, ice for instance, drop a few ice cubes in, all of a sudden that water line goes from halfway up the glass to the top of it. Same thing happens here. You get some debris like that sitting in the flow line, it'll kind of exaggerate things a little more than they are in reality. But that water line, once I let things kind of settle in here, maybe a 1/2 of an inch at its worst point. So, and those debris deposits I'm seeing at the top of the line there, I'm seeing deposits like that, sidewalls and or top of pipe going all the way out to the main. And then when that stuff goes all the way to the main like that, that's the kind of stuff you get there when a main lateral backs up. I cannot figure out what this junk is. My camera is dragging it back with it. And I don't know if this is some of the stuff that was breaking loose from back inside the house. Anyway, the 2 different bellies there, in my opinion, are too minor to need repairs. I mean, could they contribute to a blockage? Yes, it's theoretically possible. I've been doing this 13 years now. I've cambered almost 25,000 sewer lines. I have done a lot of drain cleaning. My breaking point, for instance, where I typically just start to recommend repairs or consider it, is once there's a 5-foot section of a sewer pipe at minimum with at least an inch of water that's static with no water running at all. And we're in a plastic sewer line. That a belly like I just described there, 5 feet long or worse with an inch of water, much more concerning thing. And these days, about the only times I'm recommending repairs like that on those is when they're in old pipe materials. They have rough, snarly pipe walls that grab hold of stuff as some of the standing water slows things down. That's a very, very different animal. You've also got a hard vertical dive here as you approach. I mean, you're diving almost straight down right here, which creates a lot of velocity. They're just not terribly big bellies. And most if not all the debris I'm seeing in the line there looks like it came originated out of the main lateral. It's about the only way you can get debris deposits to extend all the way to the main like that. And when you come back into the house here, you don't have that same deposit at the top of the sewer line. So anyway, that just appears to be the remnants of a main lateral backup. The bellies, the size those things are, I would not expect to see a whole bunch of major buildup and or backup evidence out of those things. Not unless I was also seeing a lot of other signs of abuse, like thick ridges of grease buildup, wipes in the line, stuff like that. So anyway, those there are just, they're too minor in my opinion to justify the repairs to fix them, especially when you look at it from a cost-benefit standpoint. The only reason I'm recommending a cleaning, and it's not going to, in this case, it would be nice just to get the junk out of there. Most of it is so thin, it really isn't going to be doing much. I'm going to recommend cleaning on it just so that you've got a line that's brought back down to base for you. But most of the buildup you're seeing in that green PVC out there, much of it is on either side of the bellies. You have about the same amount in the bellies as you do anywhere else. So that's what I'm getting at. Bellies like that, especially with this kind of configuration, the steep hard dives and everything, you're also in 4-inch diameter smooth plastic pipe there. We're not talking about old rough cast iron or concrete. That's the kind of stuff that generally speaking, if you can get a blockage to develop in a belly that small, it has far more to do with the debris that's gone down the line than the belly. About the only scenario I could foresee that causing an issue is if someone's wadding up paper towels, wipes, dumping all their cooking oil down the sink, stuff like that. So just not significant enough, in my opinion, to warrant that level of repair work here. All right, as we sit here, all the pipe we just scoped there, all of it is intact. None of it is broken, albeit some has settled a little bit. Plastic pipe can settle quite a lot, far more significantly than you saw here without breaking. So everything's intact there. We have adequate flow all the way to the main lateral connection. Flow should be improved after cleaning. Again, the buildup in the line here is not major or massive. We don't have inch-thick grease buildup or anything like that. It looks like the remnants of a main lateral backup left some deposits throughout the sewer line. So there are not a lot of cases where that's going to contribute to blocking or buildup. It might make something that's already blocking have a little bit harder time. It would just be nice to get this thing back down to base and cleaned out, so it's just not in there any longer contributing to anything. So